mysterious. On today's episode, we have a little bit of a mystery involving a missing person taken from a hiking trail in the Appalachian Mountains. I'm going to need your thoughts on this one once we wrap up here. Before we get into it, I'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe button for me. And let's jump right into today's story. This one comes to us from Tim Strong, a resident of the state of Virginia. He begins. My friend and coworker Roberto and I were doing a 4-day hike through the Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. Along this Appalachian Trail, there are actually some accommodations in place for the weary hikers. There are small, locked trailside cabins which can be reserved in advance, located in several locations. They contain bunks, mattresses, blankets, cooking utensils, and many other necessities. In addition, there are many 3-sided shelters in which there are bunks and outdoor fireplaces for warmth and cooking. It is relative to one of these 3-sided structures that our story will unfold. Now, these 3-sided shelters are a shared commodity. In other words, if you're in there and a couple other hikers come along to crash for the night, you're obligated to welcome them and make the best of it. Everyone deserves shelter for the night, and it may be many miles before coming across another one on the trail. So, Roberto and I, having planned to make it to this certain shelter for the night, had arrived at the location, finding it already occupied by a husband and wife. Having made all of our apologies for having nowhere else to crash, they said there were no apologies needed. In fact, they said, "We're rather happy that you've come along because some strange happenings have gone on here, and we weren't looking forward to being here alone tonight." Naturally, the question arose, what exactly are the strange happenings of which you speak? Before I continue, let me say that these are in fact 3-sided shelters. They have a roof with 2 sides and a back with one side being completely open to whoever and whatever may come along. We were, by the way, spending the night in the shelter by Loft Mountain. The couple went on to tell us that some 2 years ago, a group of 4 hikers was doing actually what we were doing, just south of us, in the shelter by Big Flat Mountain. Upon waking in the morning, one of the group of 4 was no longer with the shelter. Her backpack was left behind, and the couple went on to say that over a period of days, a large search had been undertaken for the missing girl that came up empty. It was some several weeks later, near the border of West Virginia, many miles away from the location of the disappearance, that a man walking through the woods came upon a body of a girl draped over the upper limb of a large tree, naked and having been partially dismembered. After they told us this story, I couldn't sleep a wink during the night. In the morning, as we got about our business of resuming our hike, my friend Roberto, who's half mad from Central America, gets the boneheaded idea that we should go south and spend the night at the very shelter where this event had taken place 2 years ago. I told him he was out of his mind, but after much back and forth about it being a freaky thing to do, I'd succumbed to the plan and we went off. Having arrived there, it was basically a duplicate of where we had been last night, only this night he and I were alone. As the sun had set and the evening turned into night, I had basically been up for well over 24 hours, having not slept at all during the night. To be quite honest with you, I wasn't too keen on falling asleep tonight either. It must have been around midnight when I looked at Roberto, and he was sound asleep. This guy could fall asleep during a blizzard, sitting on a curb, and yet I was still awake. It wasn't just that I had heard the story about what happened here, but to me, there was most certainly some type of creepy residual aspect about being here. I was uncomfortable the entire night, feeling as though we were being watched. By whom or what, I can't tell you, but I just couldn't take it, and I couldn't shake it. Speaking for myself, the sun couldn't come up soon enough, and I was sorry that I had listened to Roberto's rant about wanting to come here. He was asleep, and I was being mentally tortured for the entire night in the shelter. Nothing happened during the night. We commenced to finish our hike in the morning. The question which lingers to this day in my mind, and I would guess in the minds of many others, exactly who or what is capable of taking a human being many miles away only to dismember them and put them up in a tree for safekeeping, if that's what it was. That's what really blew my mind about this whole affair. Well, guys, what do you suppose pulled something like that off? I get, hikers getting lost, maybe being found a little ways away from where they were last seen, but being found like that, could it be anything other than a Bigfoot? I mean, honestly, really, think about it. You're out in the middle of the absolutely nowhere in the mountains. I mean, yeah, could there be some crazed person out there waiting and lying in wait to take a hiker out of one of these shelters and then, drag them off miles away, dismember them and hang them up in a tree? I know tonight's story was a little graphic and not really that much fun, but I mean, these stories, these reports, this stuff happens. And, this wasn't exactly directly a Bigfoot story, but what do you suppose? I mean, I've heard of other Bigfoot accounts that had similar happenings like this, but I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? What do you think happened with this one? Like I said, I don't know. It's just, yeah, not a whole lot left to say about this one. Well, I do appreciate y'all listening. Sorry it was kind of a short story. Not a whole lot to it. Definitely not a direct Bigfoot encounter, but, creepy nonetheless. I'm going to get this one posted and hopefully get another one here posted here right away. So we got 2 of them coming today. At least that's the plan. But yeah, like I said, I'd really love it if you'd throw your comments down below as to what you think might have happened here. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, I'd appreciate you smacking that for me. And I will see you in the next one. And if you've had an encounter, or if you've heard of anything mysterious like this, even if it's not a first-hand account, or if there's anything, you've heard of that, you think would be kind of cool to share on the channel, shoot me an email at cryptidmysterious@gmail.com. Look forward to talking to you, and I will see you in the next one.